Sonic Unleashed. What can I say about this game that hasn't been screamed at you on Twitter a million times already? Nothing. But that hasn't stopped me before, and it's not gonna stop me now. Oh! Just pretend you didn't see that. Although, I don't know, I guess I somehow still have a modicum of self-respect, so I'll at least try not to fall into the typical pitfalls of Sonic discourse. Okay, let's see here. Got a list of talking points to avoid here. Chip is annoying, etymology of the word Werehog, still the best Sonic game visually. Okay, manageable so far. No making fun of the Werehog. That could be a problem. Whatever, I'll just wing it. I don't feel like I really need to explain Sonic Unleashed to you guys. It's like elementary school level Sonic lore, so I'll try to keep this brief. But for those of you who need a refresher, Sonic Unleashed came out in 2008 and was split into two parts. One where you play as Sonic during the day, and the other where Sonic transforms into a werewolf at night, or Werehog as the game calls it. The daytime levels were generally well received, but the Werehog portion of the game was polarizing to say the least. And as a result, the game's reception was mixed on launch. A shout out to IGN for their legendarily shitty review of the game, which pissed everybody off.
There's one thing you should know about Sonic Unleashed before spending your hard-earned money on it. It's a big piece of garbage.
If this guy thinks Sonic Unleashed is bad, just wait till he plays Sonic 4.
Breathe easy, Sonic fans. Sega got this one right. Sonic is back, baby!
What the fuck?
It's the Sonic game I've been waiting for. Sonic is back, baby!
Stop saying that. You can't just say that.
This is one pretty Sonic game. Sonic is
Don't say it. That's enough.
back, baby!
But since then, Sonic Unleashed has amassed something of a cult following, with the public opinion surrounding the game leaning much more positively in the past few years, with people appreciating the world building, art direction, and even finally growing to accept the Werehog for what it is. Well, now that that's out of the way, for a long time, Sonic Unleashed was one of the least accessible mainline Sonic games. In the 17 years since the game launched, it's never been officially re-released, and for most of that period of time, the only way to play it was on original hardware, which in this case was the Xbox 360 and PS3. It wasn't even backwards compatible on Xbox consoles until 2018, so for the majority of the game's life, it looked like this. Do you smell that? Uh-oh, uh-oh. Well, okay, so much for that. Well, I guess we could just emulate it, although, I don't know, there's something about this that's a little off. I just can't quite put my finger on it. Eventually, the game got a 60 FPS patch on Xbox Series X and S consoles. But who the fuck would buy a whole console just to play an old Sonic game? A complete psychopath, that's who. Somebody who's really off their rocker, you know? Just the thought of it makes me fucking sick. Anyway, here's Sonic Unleashed running on my Xbox Series X, and as you can see, it definitely runs better, but for some reason, Sonic Unleashed runs at a resolution of 880 by 720. It's technically not even HD. So yeah, even with the FPS boost, this game still has some performance limitations. This poor guy, he's unrecognizable. You doing alright, bud? Okay, well, good luck with that. Okay, I'll quit beating around the bush. We all know it's coming. Unleashed Recompiled. It's a fan-developed recompilation of the game that runs natively on PC, and yeah, it's the best way to play Sonic Unleashed. You can run the game however you want with whatever the fuck FPS or resolution you feel like. Plus, there are a bunch of quality-of-life additions, like the ability to turn off the Werehog battle theme. Oh, brings a tear to my eye. I'm not gonna get into the nitty-gritty of what a recompilation is, mostly because I don't really fucking know, but I'd recommend this video by Matt KC if you're interested. It seems like he knows what he's talking about, I guess, so links in the description if you're some kind of smart guy. But if you're smooth-brained like me, then all you really need to know is that if you're using a PlayStation controller, you can control the map screen with the touchpad. Oh my god, that's the coolest fucking shit I've ever seen in my life. So big props to the Hedge Dev team for not only making this game more accessible than ever, but pushing the boundaries of what's possible for video game preservation in general. This is pretty amazing stuff, even if you're not a Sonic fan. Anyway, yeah, I figure now's as good a time as any to revisit Sonic Unleashed, and I actually took the opportunity to 100% complete the game for the first time. Thank you. Thank you. You're too kind. Okay. There were a handful of moments that made me want to assume the fetal position, like this one, or this one. Sonic! Or pretty much anything having to do with this guy. No, I'm not ready to talk about it. Now, that being said, I have warmed up to the Werehog gameplay in Sonic Unleashed a little over the years. I realize I'm kind of beating a dead hedgehog here, but the levels do have a tendency to go on way too fucking long, and yeah, the battle theme can get annoying with the constant which, you know, isn't really an issue anymore thanks to the recompilation, but since I'm the most obnoxious kind of pedantic purist asshole there is, I personally left it on for my playthrough, which I realize pretty much nullifies everything I just said. So to be honest, I don't really know why I'm still talking about this right now. But I don't know, once you start unlocking combos with the Werehog, the game really opens up. I love using these moves to skip parts of the level design. And yeah, this one is a reference to Street Fighter, although I think it's a little on the nose. They kind of break the game in a really satisfying way, where you're kind of skirting the line between an intentional movement mechanic and sequence breaking. Although I will say, sometimes these moves can get you in some pretty precarious situations. Oh, huh. I guess this is the special stage? As for the day stages, I like them. They can be a little bullshit on occasion, especially the side acts and DLC stages, but I appreciate that they're quite a bit more difficult than your average Sonic game. I definitely wouldn't recommend Sonic Unleashed as someone's first Sonic game, but if you're okay with dying, like, a lot, this game makes you feel like such a badass when you finally get it right. Except for Arid Sands, that level can fuck off. Okay, let's see, how we doing on time? 6 minutes! We gotta move on. I'm just gonna skip through the rest of my stupid opinions and get to the main part of the video. How about here? Does this game suck or not? I genuinely don't- Nope. Jesus, do I ever shut up? I'm telling you guys, complete access. I'm talking no bound. Nope. That doesn't sound that bad in context. Okay, I think this is it here. I mean, a human life is valuable, sure, but I mean, you don't find a Sonic Championship arcade cabinet just lying around. What else was I supposed to do? Anyway, like I was saying, the development of Sonic Unleashed was actually pretty straightforward, all things considered. At least when you compare it with the development of Sonic 06. Since this time, Sega had the common sense not to split development resources to make a shitty Wii game. Because they had dimps make a shitty Wii game instead. That was just a joke. Put your pitchforks down. The Wii version of Sonic Unleashed actually isn't half bad. Or exactly half bad, depending on who you ask, although I'm sure even this Werehog has its fans. But yeah, this version of the game was made by the folks who made Sonic Advance, Sonic Rush, and nothing else. This version of Sonic Unleashed is basically a completely different game, which I absolutely do not have time to talk about today, but maybe one day. And don't even get me started on Sonic Unleashed for Java phones, which, as it turns out, is one of many Sonic Java phone games, featuring such classics as, Sonic Cricket. Alright, this is fun. I guess that was good. Okay, that's 6. Nice. Okay, sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. Believe it or not, Sonic Unleashed started development as Sonic Adventure 3. Yeah, people will often cite Sonic Heroes and sometimes Sonic 06 as the true Sonic Adventure 3, but if you want to be technical, Sonic Unleashed is kind of the closest to a Sonic Adventure 3 we've ever had, even retaining the Adventure moniker in the Japanese title. But I can see why they decided to drop the idea of Sonic Adventure 3. Unleashed plays pretty different from the Adventure games. Plus, the Adventure games kind of come with this unspoken expectation that you're going to be playing as a bunch of characters other than Sonic, and unless you count the Werehog as a different character, like some kind of psychopath, then you don't play as anyone other than Sonic in this game. That doesn't count. Despite this, there's a surprising amount of representation of Sonic's supporting cast in Sonic Unleashed if you know where to look. Among the main cast, Knuckles is pretty much completely absent as far as I'm aware, but Amy and Tails are here even though they don't really do anything other than stare at you lifelessly most of the time. The Chow see quite a lot of representation in this game actually, although there's no Chow Garden this time around, fucking bastards. For example, this giant neon sign that advertises Chow Beans, which I'm going to assume is a coffee brand and not some fucked up Soylent Green situation, and Chow Chugger, which Chip implies is some kind of alcoholic beverage. Hey wait, isn't Sonic supposed to be 15? No, we're talking about this Sonic, right?
Stay away from liquor, kids. Like all drugs,
No,
alcohol
he
is
wouldn't,
dangerous.
right? Sonic, you're scaring me.
Just remember.
Remember what? There are even a couple side acts that involve Chow themselves, but tragically that's pretty much the extent of their involvement. And it's just the default Chow, you won't see any cool variants like the Hero Chow or Swim Chow or anything like that. Also, in Skyscraper Scamper posted alongside 3 different speed limits and what is apparently a one-way street off a fucking cliff. There's also signage for streets named after a bunch of Sonic's friends. Rouge Street, E123 Omega Road, Blaze Road, Silver Beach, and S Shadow Avenue, which I assume is meant to be Super Shadow. Oh, actually, you know what? It's probably South Shadow Avenue. Oof. I'm not sure how I feel about what that says about me, but anyway. On the topic of little Easter eggs, though, this one's pretty well known, and I think I might have already mentioned this in my Sonic Ghosts video, but nobody fucking watched that one for some reason, so I'll say it again here. A Sega Dreamcast makes a couple little cameos in Night of the Werehog, a short animation by Marza Animation Planet made to promote the release of Sonic Unleashed. On top of that, there was even a scrapped scene where Sonic and Chip would have played the Dreamcast. Well, as it turns out, Marza Animation Planet also snuck a Sega Dreamcast into one of the ending cinematics and into the game's intro cutscene, alongside one controller and 2 games, one of which is Eggman Adventure, obviously, probably the most iconic Dreamcast game, no surprise there. And, is that Knight's Journey of Dreams? Kind of an odd choice, given that it's not a Sega Dreamcast game, but this is Sonic we're talking about. A Knight's cameo is basically obligatory, so I guess I'll let it slide. But yeah, seems like Eggman's a big Dreamcast guy, apparently. I like to think this is also why Dreamcasts were incorporated into E105 Zeta's retooling in Sonic Adventure. Brother, maybe it's time to find a new hobby. At a certain point, it's just... Yeah, okay, I deserve that. Well, Eggman's apparent knack for Sega hardware doesn't end there, because here, the name of this Egg Fighter not only references the Dreamcast, you see, DC, but also the release year of Sonic Adventure in Japan. And yeah, the other 2 Egg Fighters in Eggman Land have similar names. This one's named after the Mega Drive and utilizes the release year of Sonic 1. Although, the directory says this one mans a shop? But wait, no, that's the Dreamcast one that works the shop. Look, the Mega Drive is this one, it says right there. What are you trying to say, Professor Pickle, that all robots look the same? Shame on you. EGMD 1991 deserves better than that, isn't that right, pal?
I'm over here.
Oh, sorry. My mistake.
Yeah, I'll bet you are. Fucking robophobic piece of shit.
Then there's this guy, which references Sonic 06 on the Xbox 360. A robot which is characterized as being socially inept and underdeveloped. Do I even need to say anything? Because I don't think I do. I love these little hub worlds, by the way. People complain about the hub worlds in Sonic games all the time, but I don't know, I've never really minded them. You know, barring a few notable exceptions. I think typically Sonic hub worlds are pretty charming and usually relatively unobtrusive. I've always loved the feeling of returning to a cozy little home base where you can kind of cool off and take in the atmosphere. And I think it's especially effective here in Sonic Unleashed. There's some really nice attention to detail here. Like here's one I thought was pretty cool. If you listen closely in this alleyway in Spagonia, you can hear someone whistling the main theme of the game. And yeah, that is just reused audio from the game's reveal trailer, but you know, that in and of itself is kinda neat. I think the NPCs that populate these places are a big part of what make these hub worlds work. Sonic has tried the whole human NPC thing a couple times before. In Sonic Adventure, they were harmless at worst, mildly interesting at best, and in Sonic 06, they were just fucking weird. But in Sonic Unleashed, I think they mostly did a pretty good job with these guys. Yeah, I said it. Mostly. Fuck. I appreciate that they each have their own little side stories going on, which you can follow as the game progresses, with some of them even offering little side quests and mini-games. Like this journalist character, Brenda, who quizzes you on Sonic the Hedgehog trivia. Alright, Brenda, I'll make you a deal. I'll bet you my life savings that I don't get a single question wrong. Okay, here we go. How many Chaos Emeralds are there total? I mean, this is easy. 7. Well, unless you're talking about Sonic the Fighters, where there are 8, or Sonic 1, where there are 6, or Sonic Spinball, where there are 16. So it really depends on which game you're... Oh, there's a time limit. Fuck. Alright, deal's a deal. There you go. Try not to spend it all in one place. Now, although none of her questions are all that noteworthy, some of the multiple choice answers you're presented with can yield some mildly interesting results. For example, when she asks about the name of Tails' plane, one of the options is the Cyclone, which is the name of the mech that Tails pilots in Sonic Adventure 2. And yeah, it's obviously the Tornado, it's not the I Love Sonic, believe it or not. Although, technically, the Tornado isn't Tails' plane, it's Sonic's. I mean, yes, Tails pilots it most of the time, but that doesn't mean it belongs to him. If only there were some way to discern who owns the Tornado. I'm just racking my brain here, but I'm really struggling to come up with anything. Shadow the Hedgehog also gets name dropped here as an incorrect choice for a different question. But in terms of Easter eggs and references, there's a couple things I didn't mention, but for the most part, that's pretty much all this game has to offer. Now that isn't to say that there's nothing else to talk about, because Sonic Unleashed is chock full of interesting, unused stuff. Like here's a fun one. You ever notice this door at the end of Arid Sands' night stage? Sands'? Or is it just Sands? Or is it Sands? Well, even though it looks like every other openable door in the game, it doesn't seem like there's a way to open it. I mean, there's no switch, no lever, no fucking gemstone urinal things, and there's no way around it. I mean, look, I tried jumping into this corner at least twice, so I think it's safe to say that's completely impossible. So we can't open the door, and we can't go around it, but maybe we can go through it. But to answer that, we need to talk about parallel universes. Or, you know, if you want to do it the boring way, we could just use a FreeCam mod. So let's take a look at what's behind door number 1. Wow, would you look at that? Nothing. Okay, well, not nothing per se. There are obviously no enemies or objects around. But there is like half a stage's worth of level design just sitting back here. Look at this, it just keeps going on and on and on. There's a lot here that you're just not gonna see under normal circumstances. I wonder why this area was cut. Oh, right. That makes sense. Well, eventually this area was repurposed for the Arid Sands Act 2 DLC. That is, except for this small area with these breakable pillars, for some reason these were scrapped for the DLC. Now, does this area being repurposed for DLC nullify its unused status, thereby rendering everything I just said completely pointless? Yes. But, I did mention the pillar thing, didn't I? Really? It didn't do anything for you? Huh. I really thought the pillar thing would kill. Okay, well, I already said it, so what do you want me to do? Go back in time and unsay it? Ugh. Okay, fine. Like, here's a fun one. You ever notice this door at the end of... What the fuck was that? What? Ow. Hey. What? Sorry to interrupt. It's me, you, from the future. And, just wanted to let you know, they didn't like the pillar thing. They didn't like the pillar thing? They didn't like the pillar thing. Huh. Thought the pillar thing would kill. I know, that's what I said. Okay, well, I guess I probably don't have to mention the unused area in Jungle Joyride then. Pretty much the same situation, you know. Unused area at the end of the level, breakable object, repurposed for a DLC level, like pretty much beat for beat the exact same thing. It's kind of remarkable, actually. Can I go? Yeah, go ahead. Can I use your bathroom? Sure, second door on the left. Oh, I know, I live here, I just wanted to ask. Okay. Here's something a little more substantial. You know how there are 200 moon medals and 200 sun medals in the game? What if I told you that there's a secret 201st sun medal for you to collect? But first, if you're familiar with the Werehog's moveset, you may already be acquainted with this attack, the rolling kick combo. If you don't know any better, you probably don't really think much of this attack. I mean, it's kinda useful for crowd control, but I mean, it's not like broken or anything, right? Wrong! Because if you perform this combo against a wall and press the shield button at just the right time, you can clip through just about anything. So yeah, if you ever don't feel like fighting enemies, there's a good chance you could just bust a move in the corner and just not, much to their confusion, I'm sure. And we could even use this glitch to explore those unused areas I mentioned earlier, as well as one more notable location. If you head to Missouri and access the... No, not, I meant the other Missouri. In the town mission Final Exam, you can clip through this door at the start of the level to gain access to this area. Now, besides an unfinished puzzle and an unused second goal ring, that's pretty cool, actually. There's also one more unused object of note here. All you gotta do is climb up here and boom, there you go. That's the 201st sun medal. Technically. You see, the game considers this sun medal and the legitimate sun medal you're supposed to collect in this mission as the same object. So if you collect one, the other is flagged as collected, if that makes sense. So in practice, according to your sun medal total, one of these sun medals doesn't exist. So nobody will ever know that you collected a 201st sun medal, except you. You will. You'll know. And at the end of the day, isn't that all that really matters? Isn't that what really counts? The answer is fuck no. I only play video games to gloat to strangers about it online. Look at that, that's me. Fuck you. Well, this next unused feature would have come in handy for exactly that, actually, because along with the TV, bookshelf, and phonograph in Professor Pickle's lab, there was also meant to have been a laptop, which still exists on the game's data. This would have been used for a scrapped replay feature. Not really sure why it was cut. I guess the laptop was on the fritz? But come on, this is a perfectly good laptop. Here, let me try something. Hi, tech support? Yeah, I've got a laptop here that isn't turning on. I'm not really sure what's wrong with it, but you know how technology is.
What exactly is that supposed to mean? Hey, you're that asshole from earlier today, aren't you?
No, sorry, wrong number. Well, that couldn't have gone worse. That's kind of too bad about that laptop, though. A dedicated replay feature. Ow, just bit my tongue. A replay mode is a great fit for Sonic. The concept of a replay mode was eventually revisited for Sonic Mania Plus, but never again as far as I know, which is kind of a shame. But who knows, maybe we'll see it again one day. Alright, probably ought to wrap this up, so let's rapid fire the next few. There are unused stage gates for the DLC levels just sitting in the game's code, basically completely functional. In the final game, you have to select DLC stages from the world map, which is super fucking lame if you ask me. There are some unused hard mode and very hard mode layouts in the game's data for a bunch of daytime stages, some of which are pretty much complete, but the devs ultimately chose to remove these, probably because they aren't fun or good. Sonic Unleashed also has some unused animations, which I don't have that much to say about, but there's only like 10 of them on the cutting room floor, so let's just knock them out real quick. Here's one of Sonic climbing a ladder or something. I'm not really sure how this would have been used. Ladder climbing isn't exactly what comes to mind when I think of fast-paced, high-octane gameplay, so my guess is that this was going to be used in one of the level hubs or something, but I could be wrong. Here's an unused boost animation. I kind of like this one. Kind of a bummer this got cut, although I'm not sure how it would have worked from a practical standpoint. In the final game, the boost activates instantly, and this animation's a little slow for that, although I don't know, maybe they could have cut it down or sped it up or something. Next are some movement animations for Super Sonic. These obviously would have been used for the final boss. Worth noting here is that this one technically was sort of used for the game's Platinum trophy, so yeah, that's kinda neat, I guess. And lastly, here are some unused Werehog animations, which are mostly pretty uninteresting, although I kinda like this one. It reminds me of that stupid-ass hand thing they do on Clone High, which has always cracked me up. The file name for this animation is also evilsonic_give, which I also think is funny for some reason. It's giving Evil Sonic. And yeah, I guess that's pretty much all I've got for today. Now before I go, I do want to address the elephant in the room here. I mean, what has taken so long for Sonic Rumble to come out? I mean, what the hell happened with that? This game was announced all the way back in April and it only just recently released. It took them fucking ages. I mean, over and over again, people kept asking and asking and asking, where is it? When will Sonic Rumble finally come out? It's just a fucking Fall Guys ripoff. What the hell took them so damn long? Well, we can only speculate, but who knows? Maybe the devs behind Sonic Rumble had a lot going on, you know? Maybe behind the scenes, the devs haven't really been able to work on Sonic Rumble for a variety of reasons. Life getting in the way, general lack of free time, maybe a little burnout. Maybe they worked on a couple side projects instead, or just took the opportunity to relax, who knows? But one thing's for sure, I bet the devs are really appreciative of your patience. So many of you guys are just so nice and understanding, and even after all this time, you're still here excited for whatever comes next. That's really fucking cool. The Sonic Rumble devs really ought to count themselves lucky, and I bet they really hope Sonic Rumble turned out to be worth the wait. You really deserve it. Or maybe they just didn't fucking feel like it, I don't know. Anyway, whoopsie, guess I haven't posted in 2 years. Oh well, see you fuckers in 2027. Fuck you. Bye. An extra special thank you goes out to Rincintic, Laura B, and Kumatori, who I forgot to put in the last video, sorry. And I'd also like to thank the rest of my patrons. You guys are pretty fucking cool.